famous in Scripture, and people outside of the church even know of the fame of Solomon's wisdom. And so what I want to do today and this week is talk about his wisdom and really what's so great about Solomon's wisdom. And today I want to look at it from a literal point of view. We're not looking at internal sense or symbolism. We're just taking the text from the stories and looking at what makes Solomon's wisdom so great. So to start you on this journey, I want you to imagine this. You can close your eyes if you want. You can drift off a little bit, but just imagine for yourself for a moment that you are a sheep farmer. It's the year 1216, so it's 800 years ago, and you are a sheep farmer. You're out there tending your flock. Nice day outside. There's green pastures. The sheep are doing what they're supposed to do. When, at some point in the day, your neighbor comes up to you. Your neighbor says to you, "You have stolen 3 of my sheep." Now, you have not stolen any sheep. But nevertheless, this neighbor accuses you of having stolen 3 sheep. The only way to resolve this is you have to go into town. And so the two of you go into town and you talk to the local magistrate. The magistrate says, "Tell me the story." You say, "Well, I have done no wrong." The man says, "You've stolen 3 sheep." You haven't. You keep professing your innocence. The magistrate says, "Well, look, it's your word versus their word. There's no evidence either way." So he refers you on to the next level of justice. And in the year 1216, the next level of justice is the Catholic Church. So you get sent to the church. And the church priests come up and they hear the story. This person, "You have stolen 3 sheep." I say, "I have not." The Catholic Church offers you 2 options. You can either admit to your guilt, give the man the 3 sheep plus the penalty for stealing the 3 sheep. You take whatever penalty that is, which is barbaric and severe. Or you can have a trial by ordeal. Now, the way the trial by ordeal works is the priests get a big cauldron of boiling water. And you take your arm, they get the boiling water and they put 3 coins into it. And you take your arm and you retrieve the 3 coins and bring your arm back out of the boiling water. They bandage the arm up, and when a few days have passed, they unbandage the arm. If your arm has no burns on it, clearly God has protected you and you are innocent. If you have burns up and down your arm from getting the coins out of the boiling water, well then, God did not protect you, therefore you must have been guilty, and you are subject to all the penalties and fines that go with it. That is the wisdom of that time. So hold that in your mind for a little while. We'll come back to that. But that is trial by ordeal. And I find it curious because Solomon's story is one where he doesn't do that. We have the famous story. But most of Solomon's wisdom, if you look up online, Solomon's wisdom, most of it comes back to being quotes, one-liners, something you see that's posted on an inspirational postcard or greeting card, or a framed thing. It's not necessarily what I would call wisdom. They're nice sayings, but I've given you a few of them here in the order of service to take a look at. Here's Proverbs chapter 1, verses 7 and 8. "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction." It's a good saying. "Listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake your mother's teaching." Sounds a little bit like the fourth commandment. All right? Here's some more examples from Proverbs chapter 10. This is all Solomon's wisdom. "He who works hard with a lazy hand is poor, but the hand of a hard worker brings riches. A son who gathers in the summer is wise, but the son who sleeps during the gathering time brings shame. The wise in heart will receive teaching, but a fast-talking fool will become nothing." the mouth of the sinful hides trouble. Wisdom is found on the lips of him who has understanding, but a stick is for the back of him who has no understanding. Wise men store up learning, but the foolish will be destroyed with their mouths. So, I'm just giving you those as some flavor, because the book of Proverbs is just full of that kind of stuff, where it's, and this person's wise and they do this, and this person's a fool and they do that. But I found in this Hebrew text, it's not a part of the Old Testament canon, but it's a Hebrew text. They call it canon. And Solomon writes, "Who is a wise man? One who sees what will be born." And I think that has kind of tie into the famous Solomon story of the two women who bring the babies to him. So it's two women. One falls asleep at night and rolls over her child and kills it. So she gets up and swaps the baby with the woman in the bed next to her, so she has a live child and the other woman has the dead one. They get up in the morning, the woman who has the dead child figures out, hey, you have swapped children with me. They go to King Solomon. Now keep this in context with the sheep story. Okay, you have the two sheep people and they're fighting over who has stolen sheep. And this is what happens when Solomon brings up, is brought a case where there is similarly no evidence one way or the other. This is from 1 Kings chapter 3. The king says, this one says, my son is alive, your son is dead. While that one says, no, your son is dead and mine is alive. And the king said, bring me a sword. So now notice he didn't ask the guards to just chop the baby in half and bring me a sword. So they brought a sword for the king. He gave an order. Cut the living child in two, and give half to one and half to the other. The woman whose son was alive was deeply moved out of love for her son and said to the king, please, my lord, give her the living baby. Don't kill him. But the other said, neither I nor you shall have him. Cut him in two. Then the king gave his ruling, give the living baby to the first woman, do not kill him. She is his mother. When all Israel heard the verdict the king had given, they held the king in awe because they saw that he had wisdom from God to administer justice. So one of the, I think, interesting things about this story is when the woman, here we have two women fighting over this child. One woman says, you know what? Forget it. Just give her the living child. Don't kill him. And the other woman says, cut him in half. Shouldn't she have said, thanks. I'll take him and I'll be on my way. Have a good day, all. Isn't that what she should have done? She doesn't. Cut him in half. Nobody's going to have him. It's a spiteful way to do this. No. So we have something, there's a Jewish commentary on this story that came about 1,000 years ago. And it basically makes the claim that the reason why this woman said cut him in half was because there was all these laws about Jewish marriage and remarriage and the laws of being a widow that were in place. And that because that these two women were actually related, that for the one who wanted the child to live, it was actually her child. But for the other one, the death of that child was going to release her from some remarriage laws because of the relationship between these two women. So this Jewish commentary is like, this is what this is all about. It's about navigating the gazillion rules of Jewish culture. And that's why she wanted this baby to die, because she'd be released from all that. But the wisdom of Solomon here, and the way I see it, is that he's played this out in a way that the evil raise their hand and say, yes, I'm a bad person. The belief in the Jewish culture was that Solomon knew, as the women So Solomon is believed to have known, but he's created this, he's given this order so that people can see for themselves who's the good person and who's the bad person. It's like having a garden full of weeds. The weeds raise their hand and say, yes, I'm a weed, pull me out. That's the wisdom. There's something to this. And I think the reason Solomon's wisdom is so wise is because it's reflective of the Lord's wisdom. When we look at the stories of Scripture, and we look at the stories of Revelation in particular, the whole theme is the Lord comes closer. He keeps coming closer into our lives. And as he gets closer, the evil can't stand being around him. And so they leave. They get out of here. They get angry, they get upset, and they get out of town. And that's the way the Lord works. He lets the evil identify themselves. This is what Heaven and Hell talks about in Heaven and Hell 5:05. He says, when spirits are in this state of their deeper concerns, then it is obvious what kind of people they really were in the world. They actually behaved in accord with their own nature. People who were inwardly devoted to the good in the world then behaved sanely and wisely, more wisely when they were living in the world. In fact, because they've been free from any connection with the body and therefore with earthly things that darken and cover with a kind of cloud. So good people act even better in the next world. In contrast, people who were focused on evil in the world then behaved foolishly and insanely, more insanely than they were in the world. In fact, because they are in freedom and are no longer constrained. As long as they were living in the world, they were outwardly sensible, because this is how they imitated rational people. So when the outer layers are stripped off, their inner insanity is unveiled. Another translation says their evil is revealed. And that's what happens to us throughout the course of our life, and especially in the next life, is that the good stuff comes forward and the evils come out. The wisdom of Solomon is that he was working just as the Lord does to make the inside come forward, to step forward and show itself. Same thing was true with the trial by ordeal story. Believe it or not, the result of people putting their arms into the boiling cauldron of water and pulling out the coin and going through that, the large majority of these people were shown to be innocent. They undid the bandage, and there was no burn. Everything was fine. How is this? Because the priests had set this whole thing up. They didn't actually boil the water. When these people would get in this tight position of having to deal with, oh my gosh, do I want my arm burnt to a crisp, or do I want to just admit my guilt? They self-selected. The priests basically believed the ones that were willing to put their arm in there to show their innocence, believed they were innocent. They didn't put the fire on very hot. Put their arm in, it was hot, but it wasn't scalding hot. Got their coins, wrapped them up. A few days later, they take it off. Hey, look at that. They were innocent. Who knew? Thanks. Trial by ordeal sounds barbaric and terrible. This was the church trying to emulate Solomon's wisdom of letting the bad people show themselves and letting the innocent people show themselves by their actions. It's I thought was a really interesting story. And the last proverb on your back here, Solomon understood this basic principle. Those who are kind benefit themselves, but the cruel bring ruin on themselves. That's what Solomon was trying to orchestrate here, is to let the evil bring ruin upon themselves. Let them show themselves. And I think that's a big lesson for us, because while so much, I think, of religion gets pointed to the, this person's wrong, this person's evil, they're not doing the right thing, pointing fingers, and you look at Scripture, there's a place for that, as far as helping someone discover that they're not doing the right thing. But there's also a place for letting people just show themselves. We don't have to pull the veil out on, oh, look, this guy's evil, this girl's evil, this person's great. In other words, there's a wisdom